Hi, I'm Deborah from DeborahAdele's Craft Room. Tonight I'm going to show you some brush strokes and different things that I do when I paint a gourd. Some people have asked or mentioned that they don't know how to do certain things, so I'm going to see what I can do to help everybody. Okay, I'm going to start out with the simplest of things. I'm not painting anything in particular. I just have some gourds that I probably won't use, and I'm going to just demonstrate on them. The first thing is base coating. You just run the brush back and forth, and if you see a ridge or something, do you see, let's see if I can get it in the picture. You see that bump right there? Don't let that stay, because with acrylic paints, they will stay there. They don't lay flat. So you just keep going. It's better to do 2 coats than 1 thick coat. You see there's little ridges in here too? We don't want those. We want those out. So that's how you do that. You just go back over it. You don't want to be putting the paint on like this. That doesn't work out. Just back and forth, back and forth. I don't think it matters which direction you go in, as long as, well, it's not like those pumpkins that you need to have the streaks going a certain way. But if you lay it out flat with your paintbrush, you won't notice the difference between up and down or side to side. Okay, so I'm going to leave this to dry so that we can do something else on it in a minute. The next thing I'm going to do is dip dots. I'm going to get some white paint so that you can see it in the video. And you put a big, I don't know if you can see that or not, a lot of paint there. It's deep, maybe 1/8 of an inch deep. Now I have all of these paintbrushes that have these flat bottoms. See if I can get that. Here's a flat bottom on this one. Here it is, over here. These are all different sizes of flat bottoms. This one has 2 different sizes. It's just an old paintbrush handle, and I saved it because of the flat ends. Now I'm going to start with the smallest one of these. You can also do these like with the bottom end of a bamboo skewer, or, well, of course, a pencil with an eraser on it that's not been used before. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to do dip dots. I have the whole end, I put it right in, and I set it straight down, perpendicular to the gourd. And if you dip each time with a nice amount of paint on your plate, you should get the same size dot every time. Now, sometimes what I do is when I do a snowman, I don't like how that one came out. I'll fill it up one time, hit it, and then without going back in, I'll hit it again. You see how that one is smaller. And then hit it again, and it's smaller. And this is nice for making snowman mouths so that, you know, they can decrease in size as you go up to the cheeks. Okay, so that's that small one. Now I have another here. Let me see which one. This one might be the next size up. And what you do, see how big that is compared to the other ones? What you do is you test your dotting thing, stylus we call it. Check it on your plate, see how big the dots are going to be, or on a piece of paper or whatever, so that you don't put a dot that's too big where you don't want one. And again, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and you see how they get smaller as you go. Okay, now another. This one might be the same size as the last one, I'm not really sure, but this is the one that's got 2 ends on it. Yeah, this one is pretty much the same size as the other. But you'll have to, you know, check it out while you're working. Try this one here. When your paint starts to get dry, or a little bit of coating on top because it's drying out, you have to get new paint. Pour more paint right on it. Now I'm going to see how far this one goes before it doesn't make a dot anymore without loading it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. Now if you don't do this right, and say you set it off at the side like this, well, with enough paint it should still make a dot, but no, that one's still working. We'll try the blue and see what happens with the blue. Sometimes you don't get the, if it's not a circle, these are all ending up circles, but if you get one that's got a little flat side, try to set the end of the stylus down and rock it a little bit, roll it around, and that will push the paint over. Don't move it too much though, because then you'll have something you've never seen before. So anyway, okay, so there you go with the dip dots. I like this. I've never done this before, this many in a row. You see how they came out, but it came out pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, now, oh, this gourd wants to be on one side. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to, well, I think I'm going to draw a little, I'm going to draw sort of a pointed oval, like the shape, an eye, shape of an eye. Okay. Now, you can't just pick up any old paintbrush like and do that. You can't pick up something like that. You have to get a brush with a point on it. Which I have here. This is my number 3 round, which I use quite a bit. And I'm going to put it in the white paint and start off the point, but then when you get to the point, you put the point right in there. Don't press down too hard or it'll make a big flat area. There we go. Okay. You see how you get that in there? I'm going to turn it around and okay, now I'm going to use, you don't want to put, if it's got a little blob of paint on it, don't stick it right in there. Pull it back a little bit and set it down so that that paint doesn't, you know, just squeeze out of the point of that. I'll show you what it would look like if you did it wrong. Okay, now I'm going to draw another eye shape. Okay, now if I put the paint on the end here and I go right to the end, it's going to come out on each side. And you don't want that. You want the point of it to be pointy. You see the difference in these two sides? One has a blob and the other one that I started farther back from the point and then went forward with less paint on my brush. Okay, there you go. Now this one, I don't think there's any saving it. The only way you can save it is to make the eye longer. Sometimes that's okay and sometimes it isn't. Okay. Okay, there you go. Now, I'm going to do shading. Shading is hard. It was hard for me when I first started. It took me months to learn how to do it. Okay, here I am now with a flat brush, a nice flat brush. If it's too puffed out, like those scruffy brushes, like this one, you can't shade with it. It just won't work. So this is what I do. This is not how I learned. This is not how the person who taught me from a book taught me how to do it. I just came up with my own way. Okay, what I do is I stick the brush in water and then I set it down on both sides. And there's still water in here. I'm going to get a napkin so you can see how much water is still left in. Okay, I'm going to start again. I just scrape it on the side of the thing and I set it down, take some water out, and I take some more water out the other side, which will be a lot less. But if you look, you can see there's still water in it. There's still water that shows up on the napkin. And that's what helps pull the paint out and thin it out while you're shading. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to shade with white because it's here. This, you only put paint on one side of the brush, on the point of one side of the brush. And you drag it along and back and forth. Usually it's up against something unless it's making the shape for you. Okay, here we go. It's got a line at the edge, and when it's farther in, I think I'm going to get black so you can see it better. Where'd it go? Here it is. And depending, of course, on the size of the area that you want to shade, Depends on how much paint you put on the brush. Okay, I just dipped my paint. I just dipped my brush onto the napkin, and I'm putting this much on, which is quite a bit for gourd work, unless you're doing a big long arm or something. Anyway, I'm going to go like this. And remember, I don't paint like other people do because I basically taught myself from a Pat Olson book. So, okay, there you go. See, it's dark where the paint landed on the brush here, or where the brush hit the gourd, it's dark, and it starts to drag out a little bit, and that's the shading. I'll do it again. Touch down, and if you happen to have still a little paint on from your last shade, make sure you put your paint on the same side as the paint was before, because this one right here has paint on it still. And I'm going to touch, and I'm going to do a smaller touch. There you have it. Now I'm going to shade this eyeball, now this eye shape. Touch down. All right, now I'm going to shade this. Okay. It looks better in person than it does on the camera. There you have it. That's how you shade. Those little arms that I did on the angels, I'm going to put it on the back here of the gourd where it doesn't have any paint. And I have some blue. And you just go like that, and you pull it across. If it's got too much water in it still, touch your brush down, wipe the water off, and go back and shade. Can you see that okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to leave a ridge in the paint that will help you with your design. I'm going to get a different gourd. Okay, now I'm going to paint an arm, a Santa arm. I got some deep burgundy, and you just put the whole brush in. You get the whole end, and you're gonna cover part of it with just plain base coating, but then you want to leave say you're going along the arm line. Can you see that ridge of paint up there? That's, if I had drawn this on there. Let me try again, because you can always add more paint if you don't have a good ridge. I hope you can see this. It's hard to get the right angle on this. Anyway, there's a ridge of paint right here. And when you have to line this arm, and you line on the other side of the ridge, it helps guide your paintbrush so that you're not, going off crooked or anything, because the paintbrush is hitting the ridge as it goes. Another thing when you're going to paint against a line that's drawn, we'll just draw a line here, and we're going to paint up against it. I'm going to use that red again. You get a lot of paintbrush, and you set it down so that you angle your brush like this so that the paint comes off, and you can just have a nice line. If your brush is too dry when you're doing this particular thing, it'll leave a jagged line. I'll show you. Let me see if I can do that. That's a little too dry. You won't be able to get it nice. You see that? It's got some, it's just fluffy and you can't get it anywhere. But this one, you see the difference. One's a sharp line because it's got a rigid paint, and this one does not have a rigid paint. So anytime you're trying to butt up against something else, say I'm going to put green, or I'm going to put blue here because I have blue out already. Okay. Now I'm going to get the blue on my paintbrush, just like, you know, try not to get paint up into the, you know, this part of your paintbrush up here, because you may as well just throw it away if you do, because it'll puff it out and you'll end up using it for a scruffy blusher brush. And you only really need one of those. So here I am now, and I have it at an angle. And I have a little ridge. It is not as easy as it might seem, even for me who's been painting forever. So, okay, one next to the other. A lot of times, you know, you don't have to worry so much about this line, although you do want it to be nice. Because most of the time when two colors meet together, you're going to be lining it anyway, because it doesn't look complete. With my particular style of painting, it doesn't look complete without the line work on it. Okay, so there you have that. Let's see what else is here. Oh, now I'm going to show you how to line. You need a good brush to line. If you have a brush that's sticking open and, you know, just every which way, forget it. Like this one right here. This one was good, but now it's not anymore, because when you set it away and it puffs open like that, it's not going to stay closed when you're painting. What I do, and maybe some people think this is gross, but when I have a brush that puffs out like that, I put it in my mouth and spit on it and make it come to a point. I try not to do that in front of other people, but it's a good trick, so I'm sharing. All right, now we're going to line. We're going to do some line work. You get the paint so it's like an ink-like consistency. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go straight down this line here. You set the brush down. Don't push down hard. This is hard to do. Even I like little short strokes, but if you do that, it's hard to if you have a long spotted line, you're going to get you're going to miss when you go together with when you meet the two ends together, it'll miss. Okay, So there's a line. Many, many times I have to touch the line up. If it's coming off over here like that, I'll get some red and touch it up there. If it's blue, I'll touch it up here, or white or toffee, whatever. Red doesn't really work well covering, but if you do that, well, I'm going to show you what I would do for this. Here's the black spot. Cover it with white. This is if you have to touch up red. Cover the area with white. Leave it alone till it's dry. I'll do some other line work and then I'll show you what happens. I have the brush and I'm going to line around. It always comes out better when there's a ridge there. I'm going to line this and then I'm going to shade it so you can. Some people shade first and then line. I seem to have more control of my shading than I do my line work. So when I do the line work first, because I find it's easier to touch up line work than it is to touch up shading. That's why I choose to do it that way. Okay, so there's the line on there. It went on pretty easy because of that little tiny ridge. You can't really even see it that much. Okay, now I just stuck my brush in the water, set it down on the napkin, lightly set it down on the napkin, and put my brush in the black, and the side with the black on it is the side you'll put up against the line. Well, that is a thing of beauty. I like what it looks like with black on top of burgundy. Now I'm going to have to paint a Santa Claus because I'm liking this. Okay, that's what it looks like, the shading. Now with I'm going to shade the rest of, if there was a rest of the arm there, I'm going to shade the rest of the arm so you can see what the arm should look like. Comes around like this. Like that, and up like this, okay, that's like that, and then this can actually be, this would be good for any arm that, you know, has a bend in it. A little crook in the elbow or whatever. Okay, now this way, because you want the shading to come in, just go like this. And there you have yourself an arm. Okay. Trying to think of what else I do. Oh, the hair. Painting hair. I'm going to paint some hair right on the top of this. I have to find my number 3 round. Depending on the size of your gourd. If you have a really big gourd, use a number 5 round. One of these big ones here, so that you're not dragging hair up like this forever and ever. And I'm going to do one bit of hair on this down here. Okay, I'll make believe that this is the top of the head. You got a nice amount of paint on there. You set it down and you pull. And you see that little ridge in there? I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if my glasses are working tonight. Okay, now you get another, and I'm going to show you in the camera if I can. Set it down and pull back. That one didn't leave a round end, but you can push the paint a little bit to make it rounder. Okay. I'm going to do it again. That little drip of paint at the end of that brush makes all the difference in the shape of your hair. Okay, I think I'll do this a few more times so you can get a good look at it. Big blob of paint. Down, pull. Set it down and pull. Okay, so that is that. You can do just little bangs like that, say on an elf, but mostly brown hair instead of white. You could do this on a Santa Claus if you felt like it. Okay, now I'm going to get my number 3 around, and I'm going to do the hair on this top part here. Okay. Again with the hair or the drip of paint. There you go. Let's try to keep it your way this time. There. You know I'm going to be sticking my hand in this other hair. I'm going to try not to because it's messy. Okay, now, there you go, another one. You really do need a round brush to do this kind of work on the hair. I think I'll do it again, a couple more times. There you go, one more. Well, actually, I'm going to do a couple more over here to show you how to go down around the face, to shape the face. Okay, here we go. You go down farther with it, and there you, now you have a shape of a face coming in. I'm going to do this side. Like a little page boy haircut. There you go. See how that looks? Cute. Okay, now that spot on the red that I put black on, I then put white on top of it. Here you go. I'm going to put it on and ta-da. But now I'm going to show you what happens when you do it with black. I'll put a little more black on. Okay. This could happen because, you know, brushes have a mind of their own sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to, let's see what I'm going to do next while we're waiting for that to dry. I'm going to teach you how to sign your name. Take a small brush, a small liner brush. Script liners are the easiest to write with. Okay, now you wet your brush because you're going to want to drag out that black paint or whatever color you decide to use. Sometimes if you have a really dark area you're painting on, you'll want to paint it with white or gold or something. Okay, so here is my brush. Pulled and twirl while I'm doing it. Now touch so light. And you have to keep going back for paint. Okay, there's my first initial, D. Of course you knew that. Okay. Draw a straight line across for the E. Of course, you have other letters, so you'll have to figure it out. But just remember to keep your touch very light and use a very light or a very thin liner brush. Okay. B. This is showing up backwards on my camera, so I don't know what this is going to look like when it's done. Okay. Okay, so there is that. And I'm going to write the year. Sometimes, if it's a really special project, I'll write the whole date. Okay, there we go. 2019. Okay, now I'm going to show you pouncing. This is the worst brush I own. It's all spread out, the bottom is all stiff, and it's a mess. But it's my best pouncing brush. What you do, I'm going to bring this over here, you dip here, in here, touch it there to get the big blobs off, and then just start going like this. Punch, 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 punch. Leave some space. You see that? How you can see space in there, airspace? If you think it's too much, just touch it lightly again. And then go back for more. Touch it down so that you get any big blobs of paint off it. Here we go. Pounce. Okay. I think that this is a great way to make a beard, because you only usually have to do one coat of this pouncing, unless you just miss a whole area. And it's a lot easier than trying to put on 2 or 3 coats of white. So, there you go. Thing of beauty, joy forever. Okay, set that down. I'm going to make flowers. I'm going to use the blue and the white. You might want to use 2 different pouncers for the flowers. I'm going to put blue in the middle, and I'm going to use a small brush for the, there you go. This is kind of dry. Okay, that's okay, but if I was making a whole bunch, I would pour out more blue. Now, the white, you find where you want the top of the flower to be, and you start there, because usually there's only 5 petals on a flower. You can put 6 if you want. And I got 3 on there so far with the blue in the middle. And then they don't have to touch each other. If you had them touch each other, you would probably end up with 6. But there's a blue center, 5 petals, and then we're going to get some green and put a leaf on. Okay, where is that? I'm going to use a liner brush because this is a smaller flower. Okay, I have some Hauser. Doesn't matter what color it is because we're just playing. And you make a little eye shape. I'm going to see if I can do it while it's right on camera. You make one side, and then you make the other side. Okay. Those are pretty easy. Now I'm going to make holly leaves. Let me get this out of the way here. Okay. I'm going to use this green again. I usually use a forest green for it, but this is just playing, so it doesn't matter. But I do want it to be green. Okay, now what I'm doing here is I'm going to draw a little line like that. Draw another one next to it like that. And then another line that curves in. Another line. And there's the last line, and then you fill it. Now, most of the time, these need a little second coat, not at the edges, just in the middle. But I'm going to now make the other part of the holly leaf, and I'm not going to go straight across from it. I'm going to angle it down. This will be toward the face of Santa or whoever you're putting it on. This will be up toward the top of the gourd. Okay. Okay, one is bigger than the other, which we don't want. Oh, I just squished that flower, but that's okay. It's just a flower. Okay, I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. There we go. I'm going to put a second coat quickly. Doesn't need to go to the edges because the edges have a little ridge in them. Okay, now, depending on the size of your holly berry or your holly leaves, you're going to want to put try not to stick my finger in there again. It's already ruined, but that's okay. Okay, now, depending on the color of your Santa, if it's kind of an elegant looking Santa, you're going to want to put burgundy color on it. And if it's a whimsical Santa, you'll want to put, well, you maybe won't want to put that, but I usually put the bright red on a whimsical Santa and the burgundy on an elegant Santa. Now here we go. I'm going to put one dot here. It's not in the center. See how it's off to the side a little? Another one over here. And a third one here. And that's what that looks like. Now, if you wanted to make a holly leaf bow tie, which I'm going to show you. The bow tie should go straight across, not angle down. It can angle a little if you want. You can actually do it any way you want to. I'm getting all bossy here. Okay, now there's one half, where is it? There it is, 1/2 of that. And then the other half over here. If you have a big neck on the thing you're putting the bow tie on, you can go straight across if it's you know, and if it's not, you'll have to probably do one like this, where so it doesn't wrap around the sides of his head. So here we go with this one. This is going to be a bow tie now. And it does need a second coat, but I'm not going to do that. And now I'm going to get a bigger end of the brush. I'm going to use my big one here. And I'm going to stick this in the red. And I'm going to just put one dot in the middle. And that can be a holly bow tie. Okay, now let's see. Oh, we're going to go over now and show you the difference between the white mark. Okay, now I'm going to put the, stuck my hands in the hair. Of course I did. Now where's that brush here? Okay, this is going to need a second coat, and that's why this looks dark, where I went over with a white, because it's second coated. Okay, so there you have your second coat on that piece of white. It did leave that white a little bit ridgy, but you won't do that. You'll want to just smooth it out. Okay, now if you do this, the second coat, you see that black. It's going to take you about 10 coats to get that covered completely. Well, maybe not 10, maybe only 5. Here's the second. So if you had put white on it, the red would cover it better. Here's another one. This happens a lot with the lining, where you line something and something jostles your hand or something, and you got a little thing on your red there, and you don't really want to have that there. Okay, now I'm going to put white on this. This wasn't quite dry, so I'm going to put another coat of the burgundy on top of this, and another coat of burgundy on top of this first one over here. You see, that one's gone, and that one looks like a spot on the gourd or something. Anytime I paint a Santa, unless it's a really opaque red color, I spray or paint the gourd white, because that way the beard is white already, and the red will brighten up because it's on top of white. So anyway, now I'm going to do a little face here on this, because you know, I like that haircut on this little person here. Okay, now I'm going to get a liner brush, because they usually have the nicest little, you know, ends, pointed ends. And I'm going to make a face right on this tiny little head here. I'm going to one little eye, two little eyes. See how that is? And now I'm going to do the mouth with a red. Put two little dots. I didn't touch these all the way down because I didn't want them to be spread out as far as the other was. And then there you go. It's silly looking, but you know, it's a face. And of course then we want to put the eyebrows and eyelashes on. Okay, I'm going to put the eyebrow on the side because it's too high. The eyes are too high. It'll go into the hair if I don't. This is not looking good, but it's okay. Good thing it's just pretend painting. Okay, now I'm going to do eyelashes. Show you how to do those. And I'm going to do them across. I'm going to turn this into an eye. I mean, it's shaped like an eye already, but I'm going to turn it to an eye with an eyelid on it. Okay, we're going to go right straight across. And we're going to go up with the eyelash. And for the second eyelash, well, I'm going to go, I didn't get this across far enough, so I'm going to go under and up. And then for the third eyelash, you just paint right on top of that same line and just go up sooner. Now for the eyelashes on the bottom, I like to put them off to one side. Because if you don't, then you have to, well, of course, it all depends on the look you want. If it's a pumpkin or something. And I just take a little line, put it down, another one, and another one. And then you put the eyelash, or the eyebrow in, which I'm going to just do right over the top of that. And you have an eye. This was kind of a dry brush for that eyebrow, but let's see if I can fix it. And something I tend to do is I tend to overfix things. If I come across, well, I'll just do this here. Put a line here against this shading. And if I make a mistake like this, and then I make another mistake here, what I tend to do is I try to fix it on, you know, like this, and then it ends up worse. It's like a little mini disaster. It's like one thing on top of another. So instead of trying to thin these out and make it all the same, just get some white or whatever color and just leave it alone till it's dry, and then just do this to it instead of trying to, you know, make the line all the same thickness, or whatever people do to, well, whatever I do. And I do it all the time. I do it all the time. And then I end up fixing it anyway. Okay, so there you have it. Because you always want to shade red with black. It looks better. But if you were to do this blue, you don't necessarily want to shade it with black. I'm going to shade it with a darker shade of blue. Where the heck is that brush? Here's a little one. Okay, so here we go. I got the darker blue, and you just run it up against something, against the side of it. Let's see if I can, yeah, see how that looks? Makes it look nice. Like, you know, supposed to look. A little more water. I'm going to shade the bottom half of it now with black so you can see the difference. Here's this. Yeah. Well, that's painted over that blue that was still a little wet, but I just think this looks more subtle than the black on the bottom. And if you were doing Halloween stuff or something and you want it to look spooky or whatever, you know, shade everything with black if you want to. So let me see if there's anything else. Stick it pretty. Oh, I'm going to show you how to do that blush. Oh, there it is. I don't know where I got this. It's probably from my daughter when she was a teenager, but she's 44 now, so. And I used to use one of these, but the brush, or whatever it was, is yuck. The spongy part came off it. Yuck. Wish I didn't do that. Okay, I'm going to throw that away. Okay. And let me see if I can find that brush I told you. There, here it is. Now this is what you want to use for it. This is the one I use all the time because it's got pink on the end of it. Okay, I'm gonna do some blush over next to this eye. Now there's two colors I have here. If I have a lot of red iron oxide in the shading of the gourd, I use this coppery color because it matches. You just twirl it around and around because what you're really trying to do is you're trying to grind that blush into the gourd. I have this. You don't need one of these. Well, they're nice though. It's just a really soft brush that I use to brush the fluffy off. So there's that one. And it's got kind of a copper color. But when I use let's say I'm doing a snowman or something that doesn't have red iron oxide, but you can use the pink for that too if you want. But then you use the pink here and go around and around. You can just use regular blush too. I think this is eyeshadow. Okay, so you can see the difference in the colors. One's pink and one's pink and one's copper. This pink just ground right into this and it's not coming off. Probably a little wet still. Anyway, there you have that. I tend to like the pink better. But when you have to use the other, it's fine too. Now we have a whole bunch of different kinds of eyes that we do. Let me see what I have here. Do I have another gourd? Oh, there it is, way over there. There it is. I'm going to do eyes on this gourd. Of course we have the eyes. Let me get this back over here. We have the dip dot eyes. Nothing to it. You don't want them to be too big unless your gourd is big. And then we have the round eyes, the oval eyes, that are together. And this is without the eyelids on these. Then you just paint the whole gourd or the whole eye with black. These are actually the easiest of the bigger eyes to do. Okay. Most of the time, these are down on top of a nose, like right here. And the nose covers the bottom of the eyes a little bit. But sometimes, you know, you can lift them up. Or some things don't have noses. So you can do this. Put them together. And now I'm going to get some white. These aren't really ready, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, now you bring that white up, and this is still dark. I would put a couple more coats on that. You bring it up just to the sides of the black, because that way you don't have to line the eye. You just, you know, it's already lined. You see, okay, you see how that looks lined? Looks lined like that. I'm going to do another one with the white. Okay. All of this takes practice. Everything that I'm showing you takes practice. So if you're new, don't give up just because, you know, you don't think it looks good. Because people who love you think everything you do looks good. So, okay, so we have these two eyes like this, and then you get more black, and just bring it up and make a little circle like that. And there's your eye. You can make it taller, or you can leave the white this much, or whatever you want. We'll do this again. Okay, and then, of course, you'll want to put your little twilight dot in there. I know that's not what it's called, but there's your little dots for highlights. And then you want to get a liner brush to do the eyelashes. Okay. There you go. That was a little dry, that brush at the end. to the last 3 eyelashes. So I'm going to do them again over the top of them. There we go. Okay, there. Now, eyebrows. Start in the middle. Try not to stop when you're doing an eyebrow, because if you stop, then it's going to get all jiggly. The line is. If you just go for it, the worst thing that'll happen is you paint it out and do it again. Okay, so there's that one type of eye. If I was fussing on this, I would take a little more white and lighten up those tops up there before I did that last stroke of black. Okay, okay, now the next ones, well, there's a bunch of eyes, so I don't know how many I'm going to get to tonight, but okay, here's another. Okay, there's another circles, couple circles. This one I'm going to put an eyelid on. You see how that looks? Let's see, okay. My paint plate is a disaster. Okay, now here we go. We're going to do the black thing again, all black. Okay. Okay, you see how I have that one painted half? I'm going to do the other side. Okay. Now with the white, you just go on the sides with this. Bring it up next to the Now I am leaving a black line at the top also, at the top of the eye. It's kind of messy, but okay, let's see. Okay. If you want to leave it like this and have a cross-eyed, you can do that, but I'm going to do a center white section. Okay. Now of course this looks messy, and like we had to put the black up around the white, we have to do black over next to the white on these eyes. Okay, here we go. one side of that one. These are eyes with just pupils, none of the ones like the colored eyes from the pumpkins or anything like that. There you go, another side here. I don't put a line down the center. It's just, it doesn't look right to me. You can. Okay, this one is just not wanting to make a straight line. Okay, so there you have it with those. And then you'll want to line the eyelids. You can color them if you want to. You can color these eyelids with blue or green, whatever color you like. And I'm going to line them. Okay, there's the two of the eyelashes, but I'm going to do the rest of the eyelid first. There's that. I'm sorry that I'm not fixing everything, but you just know one thing, that these all need touching up. There you go. That's those eyes. Now I'm going to put some more eyelashes on them. I'm going to go on the same line and then just go 1, 2, 3. And again over here. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to put a different kind of a dot in the eye, just a little line. You can do either one. There you go. Another thing I do when I have the dip dot eyes, I get a toothpick. See if I can find one. Here we go. For these little dip dot eyes, get a toothpick and touch and touch. There you go. Now I will do some eye lines. No. Now I'm going to do some eyebrows for these other two sets of eyes. This one right here, just a little tiny thing. See, can you see it? Little tiny eyebrows. And then this last eye that I did, we're going to do eyebrows on this too. Start in the center and just pull. And then again. Okay, there you have it. I'm going to have this be it for tonight. And I think what I'll do is I'll do an entire video on just eyes. Won't be right away, week or so, couple weeks. But there you go. 3 sets of eyes. Dip dots in all different sizes. Love this. Love that thing. You can use these on clowns if you wanted, you know. Start at the top of the eye and go straight up or whatever. That would be nice. Different sizes. Okay, that's one. Now we have here ridges in the arms. You can go all the way around with that ridge. And in fact, the ridge can go over this little crook in the arm too. Shading. Hair. More hair. It's kind of, it got squished a little, but it's okay. Meeting one color with another. And line work. Oh, let's see, let's check this out now. Get that red and do that. And look, it's gone. It was black and now, then it was white and now it's gone. And now this one down here, we'll try again. That black is still showing. Love that white thing, that white trick. Okay. Oh, I want to show you the lips. I'm going to do a, you know, kind of a big size lips. 1, 2, right next to each other. And then you get whatever size brush is necessary and draw a little V at the bottom. Pucker up, because that's a kiss. There you go. I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to do it on the other side this time. Okay. I'm going to do it with the burgundy, because I have more burgundy than another color. Okay. Dip dot. Two dip dots. And the V at the bottom. There you have it. Little hearts, little lips. Sometimes you can do this with the lips. Let me get some more paint out. And because I've done these kind of lips before too. You just dip dot 1, dip dot 2, and then dip dot 3. Where is it? There you go. And that's a little set of lips too. So there you have it. A few little secrets, not secrets, tricks and tips that I've, you know, acquired over the years. Okay, now we're not done yet. We have this, the pouncing. This squashed flower. Sorry about that. Holly, bow tie. Where's the other holly? Oh, there it is. Holly near a hat. Stick this right down on the hair, just underneath the hat. And I guess that's it for tonight. For real this time. Oh, wait a minute. These pointed things with a number 3 round brush. How to get into a corner. And then the blush. Eyelashes. And some shading. If you have any questions about anything I've done tonight, just ask a question. You can send a question by email to DeborahAdele's Craft Room at gmail.com, or you can put the question underneath the video. So thank you. Thanks for watching. and have a nice evening.